Welcome to Code the Dream Spring Demo Day. We hope that you will have a fun, informative, and inspirational hour with us. Last year, we trained over 260 students, but we didn't and couldn't have done it by ourselves. So before we begin, Code the Dream staff, board, students, and apprentices would like to thank the many funders, donors, partners, and volunteers for your generous support to ensure that all voices are represented in tech and in the innovation that is being brought to our communities. None of this would have been possible without you. Thank you. For today's program, we will highlight an app that has been developed to help distribute emergency relief funds to farm and food workers, as well as an app to help people discover their music ancestry. You will hear from both of our co-executive directors on Code the Dream's goals for 2023 and beyond, and about reflections on the insightful conversations we had during our Gender Diversity in Tech campaign. We are thrilled to welcome one of our volunteers to discuss their journey and experience mentoring Code the Dream students. And of course, you'll hear from some of our apprentices as they share their inspiring stories and unique path to becoming software developers. As I mentioned, we welcome your questions throughout our time together and encourage you to post them in the chat. So some of you may be familiar with our educational training model, but for those joining us today who might not be, I want to give just a quick overview of how our vision and mission not only direct what we do, but why we do it. Imagine living in an area where educational or job resources are limited, or maybe you're trapped in a dead-end job, or perhaps you were educated and worked in your home country, but had to immigrate to the US and now can't find work in your field of expertise. How can we harness the potential and change the trajectory of people and communities that have traditionally been marginalized, underrepresented, and under-resourced? Our mission at Code the Dream is to create opportunity that changes lives, build technology that benefits our communities, and support the diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. Code the Dream starts with 6 to 12 months of totally free, intensive classes covering the fundamentals of software development. However, that's just the first step. From there, students can move on to Code the Dream Labs, our in-house dev shop, where as paid apprentices, they get their first real-world, hands-on experience building apps and software platforms for other nonprofits, businesses, or organizations that address the many racial and social injustices faced by communities in need, and that many of our apprentices know firsthand. Key to our unique model is Code the Dream's vision of a world in which tech innovation comes from all of us and benefits all of us. So given our mission and vision statements, you might ask, how are we doing and where are we headed? As I mentioned, in a few minutes, you'll hear from our co-executive director, Dan Rearick, about where Code the Dream is headed, but I want to take a few minutes to highlight where we've come from. For me, the story about Code the Dream has been about growth. And it's been solid, positive growth. When Code the Dream piloted its program in 2014, there were 8 students from the Triangle attending in-person classes. In 2022, Code the Dream trained over 260 students from 32 states, and that's more than double what we did in 2021. Our growth can not only be seen externally, but also internally. I remember when I started at Code the Dream in 2020, we have more than doubled to a dream team of 25 professionals working to ensure that our students and apprentices reach their goals. And this growth has also increased our need for the supportive and dedicated group of volunteers we rely on to mentor and guide our students. In 2022, our volunteer network included over 170. extraordinary individuals who donated 10,000 hours. And for them, we are extremely grateful. And while we have seen change at Code the Dream, we're also proud that we have remained consistent throughout our growth. Because consistently, more than 50% of our students identify as women or non-binary. Over 70% come from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds. 90% come from low to moderate income communities. And approximately 90% of our apprentices do launch their careers in tech. So while we've made great strides over the past few years, there's still more that we can do and that can be done. So now here is Dan Rearick to talk about where we're headed. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks, Pam. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Rearick, Co-Executive Director of Code the Dream. So where is Code the Dream heading? As Pam said, we're growing, and we're growing to meet a huge need. And that's because formal college education is expensive and it leaves so many people out. Just looking at the numbers, we can see it disproportionately leaves out Black and Brown students, many new immigrants and refugees, and low-income families across the board, both urban and rural. Even for those who do earn a degree, does it help you? Does it help you provide for yourself? As a former philosophy major, I can say not always in the way we would hope. But nowadays, with the pace of change for everybody, regardless of what we studied and what opportunities we've had in the past, we can't afford to live in a world where everything hinges on one piece of paper that you may have earned when you were 21 years old. So what does this amount to? It amounts to over 1,300 applicants to Code the Dream last year, and we only had capacity to work with 20% of them. So we're growing to meet that need. And we're growing strategically and with broad input from all our communities. First, we're developing training pathways with what we call multiple on-ramps to meet students where they are. Students with no background can start from scratch in our intro to programming classes, but at the same time, a community college grad or a refugee who has a foreign degree can skip straight to the advanced courses or the apprenticeship that they need to launch their career. We're also always evaluating and iterating. For instance, by building out pathways that give students exposure to data science and the ability to leverage new generative AI technologies. We see that with each tech revolution, starting centuries ago with the Industrial Revolution up to more recent times with the PC, internet, and mobile revolutions, and now with AI, there's almost an inevitable concentration of new wealth, but there's also a chance to do it better than we've done it in the past. Obviously, we can't do any of this alone. We'll continue to rely on and leverage the power and expertise of industry, particularly for mentorship. As Pam mentioned, already last year, we had over 10,000 hours of volunteer mentorship, and we are so grateful to all those mentors. They provide the individualized support that really allows us to train up students at scale. We've also been building out new tandem apprenticeship partnerships with wonderful companies like SAS and Cisco, where apprentices gain great experience while our partners get to see just how incredibly talented all our apprentices are. So at the heart of what we want is a world where everyone has opportunity, including the opportunity to decide what problems we need to tackle next and to build the innovations that will make the world a better place for everyone. So we also continue to work with impactful nonprofits to make that happen right here and now, which brings us to our next speaker. At Code the Dream Labs, we are honored to be able to work with partner organizations at the forefront of health, education, financial access, as well as immigrant and workers' rights and advocacy. Our next guest, Laine Roland, is National Director of Economic Mobility at the Hispanic Federation, with whom we are excited to partner to create a new app to distribute much needed benefits payments to thousands of low-income farm workers and other workers in our food systems who are impacted by COVID. Laine?
Thank you, Dan, and the Code the Dream team for this wonderful opportunity. Hello, everyone. My name is Laine Rolon. I'm the National Director of Economic Mobility at the Hispanic Federation. Really happy to be here. The Hispanic Federation is the premier Latino nonprofit membership organization founded in 1990. In over 33 years now, Hispanic Federation seeks to empower and advance the Hispanic community and strengthen Latino institutions through work in education, health, immigration, civic engagement, economic empowerment, and the environment. We support over 600 organizations nationwide, uplifting every day millions of Hispanic children, youth, and family across the country, often with limited resources. Last year, the Hispanic Federation received 44.3 million grant administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, and this is part of 665 million farm and food worker relief program. Thanks to this grant, the Hispanic Federation provide one-time direct COVID relief payments of $600 to qualified farm workers and meat packers working across 17 states, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So to implement this program and serve 62,900, to be specific, farm workers and meat packers, we partner with Code the Dream to help us to create a simple, user-friendly application. So our partners in the field, which are close to 40 organizations, can help directly farm workers and meat packers finally to receive the much needed funding and financial support thanks to the grant from the USDA. So Code the Dream has been able to create the application and add features we need, including dashboard and more information for internal reporting. In addition, offer an absolutely wonderful customer service in Spanish as well, which is vital for many of our partners in the ground. Our team at the Hispanic Federation has worked with Tom, Carlos Cano, Brian Espinosa, and others to simplify the process and provide ongoing customer service to partners on the ground and to focus on, so they can focus on serving the clients directly. I really love the mission of the Code the Dream, and I really appreciate everybody who has been involved in creating the application and everything from scratch, so that way we can execute the Farm and Food Workers Relief Grant Program at the Hispanic Federation.
Thank you, Laine. And we will bring Laine back for questions. But first, let's meet Carlos Cano, who is one of Code the Dream's apprentices working on the Hispanic Federation app. Welcome, Carlos.
Hi, everyone.
Well, I guess, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Carlos. I am a first-generation Mexican and grew up in North Carolina in a small town named Coates. I worked as a web developer for Campbell University in 2014, and then transitioned to a career in medicine as a physician assistant.
So you've already had quite a journey. Now you went from software to medicine and now back to software. So why did you want to continue to be a software developer?
I decided to return to working as a developer because I found myself missing the work and the flexibility that the industry provided. I worked as a PA for about 2.5 years, and although I enjoyed the impact that I can have seeing patients, I also appreciate the ability to work on software, deploy, and see people using that.
Great. I know Code the Dream, we work with a lot of different partner organizations, and people hear about our classes through word of mouth, or maybe searching us on Google. But you had a different way of finding us. How did you get to Code the Dream?
Yeah, I found out about Code the Dream after touring American Underground in Durham with the goal of looking for a co-working space. I noticed the office with the logo, and that led me to look into Code the Dream. I fell in love with the mission and the culture, and I decided to sign up for a class with the hope that it could help me break back into tech.
And so now you are working on different apps, and one of them we will see later. But sort of what are some of the challenges now that you are facing?
Yeah, so growing up, I had no idea about the opportunities that the tech industry offered. It's such a vast field, and despite my experiences as a developer working for a university, I had a challenging time getting an interview after my career change. So, as a CTD developer, my challenges have been more of the kinds of that any developer may face. For instance, React is a new platform, or was a new platform for me when I was assigned my first project. And I'm someone that doesn't like to hold the team back and want to get through the learning curves as efficiently as possible. So fortunately, everyone has been so kind and willing to help that this all helps foster an environment that naturally leads to growth and productivity.
So yeah, so you've mentioned sort of the environment. What else can you tell us about being an apprentice at Code the Dream Labs?
Yeah, being an apprentice at Code the Dream has been really such a wonderful and unique experience. Being a software developer consists of more than just the ability to write code. Organizations also look for people that have experience with agile methodologies, team collaboration, version control, deployment experience, etc. So to phrase it another way, Code the Dream provides the opportunity to become a well-rounded developer working on real projects in a team with amazing senior developers as leaders.
So I guess what would you say is the most rewarding thing about working at Code the Dream Labs?
The most rewarding part of working at Code the Dream is definitely getting to know the people that make up the organization, while getting to work together on projects that benefit our communities and expose us to working in corporate environments.
Well, you've been working hard, I know, to become a software developer. What do you see for your future?
I would love to be able to work full time at Code the Dream or a company whose values align with mine. And I hope to continue to build my skills so that I can become a mentor and a resource for future apprentices.
Great. Well, thank you, Carlos, for giving us such great insight and information. As I mentioned, Carlos is one of the CT Labs apprentices working on the Hispanic Federation app. And so far, we've met and we've heard from the organization behind this incredible project. And now you've met one of our inspiring apprentices working for them. And so now maybe we can have a demo.
Welcome to the tutorial for the Hispanic Federation app. We first see this login screen, which we'll go ahead and proceed. This is the dashboard where there are several options. The two main ones are to either start a new application to add a new beneficiary, or to update an existing application if we wanted to update a name, a date of birth, an address, anything of the sort for an existing beneficiary. In this case, we'll go through the first option, which takes us through the first form. Here, there are a few fields that are required, and I'll just make sure the required fields are completed. There is validation that is going on. As you can see, we are getting feedback from the form for inputting the information that is expected. And once all that is in, we can continue. The next screen allows us to upload supporting documents which support the identity of the beneficiary. Here we've selected an international ID as well as a recent bank record. We have the ability to add notes. We'll go ahead and check off these attestations, and then the beneficiary actually saves their signature here. We'll go ahead and continue, and we get feedback from our backend systems giving us a risk assessment about the beneficiary, as well as details as to why the risk assessment in this case is high. As we can see, we get a list of items that the beneficiary matched on. In other words, there are similar first names, middle names, last names, date of births, and etc. in our systems. And it also gives us the internal matches that we have, so we can go and verify if it's a potential duplicate, essentially. We have the option to add another beneficiary or continue to the payment form, which is how the payments are dispersed. There are two options, and we can add either a bank account or a gift card, both of which toggle a different view. We will proceed with the gift card and add the supporting doc. Go ahead and continue, and success. We've successfully added a beneficiary, and this button takes us back to the main workflow. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. We invite Laine back now, and we encourage you, if you have questions, to please post them in the chat. We do have a few. First question, Carlos, how long did it take you to build this app, and what was the most challenging part?
I believe the app timeline was something around 3 months, which was also overlapped with the December holidays. The most challenging part for me was getting accustomed to the new platform, React, and learning all of its nuances.
Thank you. Laine, how long does it take people to get the money once they fill out the form?
It changes from state to state. We launched it a few weeks ago. So we have seen people that have received the funds from a week to 2 weeks. But originally, when we did the pilot program, it was a little bit longer as we were testing the application and also our internal process, since this is a program that is new for the Hispanic Federation as well. And we start everything from scratch.
Great. How was secure data encoded in the app?
I worked predominantly on the front end for this project, but I do know that we had encryption on the back end to safeguard the data.
Laine, I think you may have mentioned it, but how many people have already signed up through this platform?
So our goal is to serve 62,900 so far, and we only started a few weeks ago. We have close to 4,000 applications and have dispersed over $500,000 already, thinking that by the end of this month or early, or I would say mid-May, we'll top to $1 million, to our first million on payment. And I just wanted to say that the impact is significant, especially to the people that we're helping, which are usually the last ones on the lines, and it's, essential workers, people that put food at the table. And just wanted to highlight that, all the people that have applied, or close to 4,000, they don't know Carlos, they don't know people from Code the Dream. But they're having a huge impact in terms of the people that we are serving through the app. And I really, really appreciate the work of Code the Dream. I mean, it's very significant, and it's very interesting for me to see this one for students and for the apprentices, that no matter where they are located, they're gonna start working, even for a small room, the huge impact that they have in so many different places to many people that they probably will never know.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm really grateful on behalf of everybody.
Who is eligible to apply for the payments?
So for the payments, we have, it had to be from line workers, farm workers, meat packers, people who were just in the field, no supervisors. And we have people from working on the crops, working on packaging meat, people working on cleaning those different places where we have the tools related to farm workers and meat packers. So those ones were the ones that qualify. And we don't see immigration status, which is great because this opens up to a big group that usually is underserved, but it's a group that always push our agriculture to keep moving here in the United States and help us to put food on the table.
Great, thank you. Just one last question. Carlos, how many people worked on the app?
I believe at total, there's been 6 developers, not all at the same time, with Brian Espinosa being our lead developer.
Great. I think we probably should move on. We may have a few more questions, but we will address them later. So thank you both for joining us. This was informative and inspiring, so thank you. So now we're going to move on, and at Code the Dream, we work with and support people from underrepresented communities in tech. For the past month, we've hosted several events focused on gender diversity in tech. Our co-executive director, Daisy Magnus-Ayate, was an integral part in leading those conversations, which generated so much thoughtful and thought-provoking insight and advice. And she is here to share some of the challenges, lessons, and information that she learned during this campaign. Welcome, Daisy.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We are really delighted to have you. Last month, we launched our Gender Diversity in Tech campaign. During the campaign, we held a series of events and hosted leaders from education institutions that are working to build up the pipeline of diverse talent in tech, all the way to tech companies that are based here in the Triangle but have an international presence. So also involved were the alumni and volunteers who really attended the events and shared their experiences of working in tech. So as is our style at Code the Dream, we did not shy away from difficult topics and really hard questions. And as a result, we had hours and hours of robust conversations, inspiring activities, and several light bulb moments. The impetus for the campaign was this. Despite modest gains in representations over the past few years, women and gender diverse individuals are still dramatically underrepresented in the tech industry. According to a recent study by the Caper Center, 75% of tech workers are male. Yet the presence and voices of gender diverse individuals on teams, in classrooms, and boardrooms is critical to drive both innovation and equity. So we set out through this campaign to create a space for conversation, to discuss what is necessary to create environments where we can all flourish, and how to actively and continuously challenge the systems that promote bias and inequity. So through those conversations, 2 significant themes emerged that I want to share with you today. First, the importance of self-advocacy. Several tech executives noted that as women and gender diverse individuals, it's really important that we know our worth and the skills that we bring to the table. So in addition to that, we need to get a little bit loud and we need to voice those skills and articulate the value that we bring. The second theme that emerged was the importance of allies. So the consensus from the group was simply this: allyship cannot and should not be passive. The best, most effective allies are ones who are both collaborators and co-conspirators who fight injustice in the workplace by promoting equity through supportive personal relationships as well as public advocacy. So here at Code the Dream, we are intentional about creating and maintaining a workplace that supports the development and success of women and gender diverse individuals and building truly inclusive economic opportunity. We strive to see a world where all of our staff, apprentices, alum, and volunteers thrive in tech roles, a world in which gender diverse individuals are able to reach their highest career potential. Now, we know that this vision is only realized in community when we all work alongside other tech companies and individuals in order to build an industry that works for all of us. So in the coming days and weeks, we invite you to check out the recordings of the Gender Diversity in Tech campaign events, and we'll place a link right into the chat. We encourage you to increase your own awareness and understanding and build your capacity to be a collaborator and co-conspirator so that together we can begin to stir up some good trouble, the kind that pushes this industry towards greater justice and opportunity for all.
Thank you, Daisy. Wow. And as she mentioned, please visit the blog on our website to learn more about some of the highlights of the campaign and links to watch some of the inspiring and insightful events that Daisy mentioned. So now we are going to continue meeting more of our outstanding apprentices, and I'd like to introduce Uma Ramasamy, a member of the team developing the Music Ancestry app. And welcome, or I should say good morning, Uma.
Thank you, Pam. Hi, everyone.
Well, good morning. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Uma?
Yes, I'm Uma from the Bay Area, California. I'm a mother of 3 kids, and I relaunched my tech career after a long break through Code the Dream.
Well, being a mother of 3 is quite a challenge. And now you want to become a software developer. Why did you want to, I guess, come into the field?
I started my journey towards a career as a software developer, as a self-taught programmer. Actually, I wanted to create a cooking blog. So I did some browsing and ended up learning HTML, CSS, and created a static website, which increased my interest in learning new technologies.
Great. Well, we heard that Carlos sort of came upon Code the Dream in our office. How did you find out about us?
I was trying to find an institute which can help me get into the tech world at no cost. So I did a Google search and found this wonderful organization.
And we are thrilled to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's like for you to be an apprentice?
Yes, this is my first ever job in this country. Each and everything is a learning experience for me. I'm doing it and stepping up the ladder because of the amazing team around me and the resources available to grow.
Well, great job. And I guess, what is the most rewarding thing about working at Code the Dream Labs?
The most rewarding part is about Code the Dream being very inclusive. This diversity gave me the opportunity to be here today. The other biggest reward is working with SAS, a great team with supportive managers. I'm very much honored that they are here to show their support. Thank you all.
Well, you have, as you mentioned, a lot of support, and we know we'll hear from some of the volunteers that are helping to support you and continue helping you to continue in your journey. What do you envision for your future?
A very successful software engineer.
We know you'll do it, and you'll be a successful software developer. I have asked the others before, but what's been a challenge for you for becoming or on your journey?
Yes, the challenges, the first is finding some source to get a break after a 13-year wait. I was fortunate enough to find Code the Dream, but the journey was hard. I lost my dad and father-in-law, so I did not want to continue the program, but I was able to make it with the support from my peers, mentors, and program leads. Thank you all very much.
Well, we're glad that you continued on. And you continued by working on the Music Ancestry app. Music for me has played an important role in my life. My dad played classical music. My aunt is an opera singer. My sister and cousin they both sang. I am not so musically talented, but I definitely appreciate music. And I know that the creator of Music Ancestry, Cassandra Ormsby, is a bassoonist who actively performs nationally and internationally. She's also a teacher and is passionate about creating opportunities to make music more accessible in communities. So now let's take a look at her pet project, Music Ancestry.
Hello everyone, my name is Uma Ramasamy, working as an apprentice at Code the Dream. Today I'm very excited to present about Music Ancestry app. First, I would like to start out about the problem, that is answering the question, why Music Ancestry? Sometimes we would like to visit one-stop store to find everything we need. In the music world, we couldn't find one such source to get information about musicians, their teachers, and their students. So we came up with a solution to provide a responsive website, Music Ancestry. This musical family tree has a mission to give musicians, hobbyists, and scholars insight into learning about their pedagogical lineage and indulge in the community. The base is to create a crowdsourcing website. For now, we have the first phase built and deployed. We used Next.js, Tailwind CSS, Airtable, 3JS, Figma as the tech stacks. Let's get into the demo. On the landing page, we have the search bar to look for a specific musician and the button click which brings the musician's family tree. By default, it is set to the author of this Music Ancestry, Cassandra. Let's search for a musician. Here on the Ancestry page, we have two views, a graph view and the tab view. This is a 2D graph that shows the student-teacher relationship. We have the legends up here for easy user experience. The person selected is in the center of the graph, and we can see the changes reflected on the right-hand side of the page. We can see that it's getting reflected to the right and the person selected is in the center of the page. On the tab view, we get the complete bio, the instrument the musician played, and the Ancestry tab, we have the teachers, the students, and the universities they attended. We can get the complete profile of a musician by clicking the Show Profile button on the Bio tab, and I have a page up ready for us. Here we see the complete information about the musician, the instrument, schools, and teacher. And we also have the functionality to add musician. For that, we have to be signed in. We can see the add musician link up here, and I have the page ready up for us where we can enter all the information, and the verification of the information and the authentication part comes in the second phase of the development. That we came to the end of the demo. I would like to take a moment to thank my partner and mentor Munir, and also awesome and cool leads Rachel and Tom, and Cassandra for giving us this great opportunity. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Uma. We have just a couple of questions. Is this app live now and ready to be used? And how can people find it?
Yes, it is live, and please visit musicancestry.com.
Okay. What are the next features that you would like to add?
The next functionality is to add the authentication so the user have access to the information. And they can also add information, like add the information about the musicians.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, thank you, Uma.
Thank you, Pam.
Code the Dream is proud that 90% of our apprentices go on to get jobs in the tech industry, working as software developers, business analysts, project managers, and in other tech-related jobs. However, they and we at Code the Dream would not be able to accomplish this if it weren't for a wonderfully dedicated group of volunteers who give their time and skills. Volunteer software developers serve as class mentors, project coaches, and workshop leaders. And now I'd like to introduce Rebecca Kalari-Kazmarczyk, who is one of our volunteers, and she will share her experience as a volunteer at Code the Dream. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. As Pam said, my name is Rebecca. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a lead software engineer at the Philadelphia Phillies, and I primarily work in application development for our baseball analytics team. A little bit about me and how I got into tech. My first career, because software engineering is not my first career, was in teaching English as a second or additional language. And part of the research that I did as part of that job took me down the path of starting to learn how to code. And so I decided I wanted to switch into software engineering. I did that through taking a course at Durham Tech, so our local community college, and then also through doing a boot camp. When I first started at my job in engineering, I was a little disappointed to see the lack of diversity. Our team has greatly changed since then, but at the time we were not diverse at all. And I wanted to see if there was some way to leverage my past background in education in trying to help make a difference in that. I had also encountered, not so much from instructors, but from other students, opposition as a woman studying to learn how to code. I was questioned by some of my peers in my ability, and I really wanted to see if there was a way to do things differently. So through a Google search, found Code the Dream, was really excited by their mission, but also by the way in which they actually prepare people to move into tech and working as developers. I currently hire developers, and they're doing all the right things to actually give people the experiences they need in order to enter the industry. So currently I work as a group mentor for one of our advanced classes in React. And I would say it's been a wonderful experience so far. And I learned more from the students than I think they ever learned from me. It's really, really rewarding. It's really fun. I think really my favorite part about it, I love to talk about code because I love coding, but my favorite part of it is absolutely the people and the relationships I've developed in the process. And probably the best part of it, I watched my first cohort that I had worked with graduate a couple months ago, and watching them demo their projects at the end and see how far they had come and how much they had learned was really exciting. So love the experience so far. If you have experience in developing, regardless of your skill level, I would encourage you to do the same. And I'm excited for where we go.
Thank you, Rebecca. And as I keep saying, we can't do this without the wonderful group of volunteers that we have. I also want to bring on now Reed Russum, who is Code the Dream's volunteer coordinator and data wizard, to answer any questions you may have about volunteering. One question, Reed, what types of volunteers are needed?
That's a great question, Pam. So most of our volunteers are mentors in our classes. They hold either group sessions or one-on-one sessions with our students and assist them with issues on their assignments or learning new materials. We're also always looking for volunteers to help pair program with our advanced students and host professional development sessions with our apprentices.
What experience or expertise is needed to be a volunteer or a mentor?
Yeah, anyone can be a volunteer. We have a pretty wide range of volunteers, people who are recent bootcamp graduates, mid-career developers, even retired developers who are looking to experience code again. Pretty much anyone who is interested in working with apprentices and has the patience to work with new learners, we welcome those people to be volunteers.
Rebecca, we heard from you and why you enjoy being at Code the Dream or volunteering for us, and as much as we do, like having you. Can you share an experience that I guess demonstrates why you like volunteering?
Yes, I think Probably my favorite part is like getting in, like I'll have a student who comes in and they're really frustrated and really discouraged, and helping them kind of walk through the steps to solve whatever it is that they're working on, and watching them leave like with more confidence. Learning to code is really frustrating. It's really hard. And it oftentimes, especially for individuals who are underrepresented, like your immediate reaction as an individual is like, it's my fault or it's my failing, and it's not. And so it's just really cool to see students like gain that confidence. And then like the next time another student comes in with the same issue, watching that former student help the next student, that's just really exciting to see.
Great. Well, what advice would you give to someone, maybe even on this webinar, who is interested in becoming a potential volunteer?
Yeah, I would say do it. I know for me, like I was only a year into my experience in React when I started volunteering, and you don't have to know everything to be a good mentor. You need to just be encouraging and respectful, and be willing to share your own experiences. And I think students really appreciate that.
Reed, what kind of feedback have we gotten from volunteers?
Yeah, as Rebecca was saying, volunteers, I think most love the relationships they build with students. It's really exciting to see students grow over the course of the program. And I know a number of volunteers whose students will reach out to them on LinkedIn even years after they taught that student, and they can see the growth of those students over the course of time. It's also a great way to cement your own skills, especially for people who are recent bootcamp graduates. There's no way to cement your skills better than teaching things. So it's a great chance to kind of work with a new experience.
So last question, if someone wanted to get involved as a volunteer, what steps could they take? How should they proceed?
Yeah, there's a link in the chat right now to our volunteer opportunities webpage. So click on that link. There is a way to schedule a one-on-one conversation with me, and I would love to talk about our volunteer opportunities.
Great. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Reed. So remember, if you're looking to have a meaningful experience while sharing your expertise, please consider joining us as a volunteer. However, in addition to volunteering, there are many other ways to engage with Code the Dream. You can stay up to date on what's happening through our very active social media channels. If you check out our blog or follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you can learn more about our students and apprentices, since we share their stories and accomplishments on these platforms. You can stay updated on the wonderful apps and websites that we're helping to develop, and also meet some of our amazing partners. You can also see what our staff is talking about and to whom we're talking. If you read or see something you like, please help us to increase our presence by sharing or liking our posts or mentioning us in your posts. If there is anything that we can do to help you or someone you know, whether it's fulfilling a dream of becoming a software developer, or giving back to the community as a volunteer, or helping an organization increase its impact or efficiencies with a website or app, please check out our website for information about classes, volunteering, and hiring Code the Dream Labs for projects. But also we ask, if you can, please help us to give more people from underserved communities the opportunity to gain the skills that will last them a lifetime. And as you have seen, your donations go a long way in providing opportunities that will change lives. We are extremely grateful to everyone for showing your support by attending the demo day. We hope that you have enjoyed being with us as much as we've enjoyed seeing all of you. Thank you for allowing us into your homes or offices to share our experiences and projects. So again, we thank our funders, our volunteers, partners, donors, supporters, and everyone else for making Code the Dream possible. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall for our next demo day.